This is going to be a demonstration of the user interface for the Electoral Corruption Killer. We're not going to go into the details of why the Electoral Corruption Killer is essential at this particular point in time. Another video will explain that. We will simply click through to the sandbox demonstration from the GitHub README page, which is at github.com/JABowery@TECK. We are presented with this brief introduction of examples of how you can use the system. And after that, you'll see the actual database that's available for public audit. This page is publicly accessible. A version of this page is available to the person that is actually running the campaign or the office of the elected representative. We'll go through this one by one. Here's an example of auditing the vote for a particular bill. This bill number is 1822. So we'll just enter 1822 and submit it. And we get the audit of how that bill was voted on. Now, this is a very simple database. It's a sandbox database so people can understand what's going on. It can be expanded to an arbitrarily large size. And it tells us exactly how each voter, here represented by phone numbers, let's say, their voter ID, in other words, is a phone number. I've given a area code that's not in use actually, but this is an example of how one might set up an office to have voter IDs based upon people's phone numbers. You could use other voter IDs depending upon how you register people as legitimate voters. So in this case, we have the phone number at 224-2759, specifying a default delegate as another phone number. That's presumably somebody they trust to cast their vote for them in the absence of their own vote on a particular bill. But that person was absent. And so this person's vote is going to be absent. Then we have another person who has specified another delegate. That person voted by proxy for this person and abstained. We have a bunch of other voters that are simply absent. There was one voter that voted directly, yay, and we have somebody who voted directly directly abstain, and so we ended up with the tally down at the bottom. So let's go back up to the examples to the next one. We're going to show how a particular person's vote was cast on Bill 42. So we'll enter this query that consists of that person's voter ID, and then following that with a bill number. And we trace down through the person's delegates and the delegate of the delegate, and find out that the delegate of the delegate points back at the original person, so that's a vicious cycle. This is not allowed, so that person is absent. Let's go back up to another example. So we're going to show all of the data for a particular voter. And we enter that voter's name, or actually ID. And it shows a particular voter delegates for that ID, and that was another person. So if we go down to the total database dump, we'll find that in this section right here. So it simply selects out of the database, the audit database, the data for that person. Then we can see how to set delegates for particular voters, and this is only available to the administrator of the website. This would be probably set up in the office of the campaign or in the office of the representative. This particular function would not be functional for people coming in from the public interface, which would be a public domain name as opposed to, say, localhost for the administrator. And so we can enter these two voter IDs, setting the first voter's default delegate to be the second ID. And when we do that, it says that we have now thrown this voter's delegate to this person. And if we then dump out the data for this person, we'll see that it is indeed the case. There's also a specification by this voter that they wanted to vote on this particular bill, abstain. That's what 2 means. And for this bill, 122 bill, they're going to delegate their authority on that bill to this person. Then we can get to a way of specifying that they don't want a delegate. They don't want to delegate anything to anyone for this person. So you simply put in the pound sign after the voter ID, and you get the notification that this person has retained their delegate to themselves. Then we specify, say, multiple proxies in priority. So what that means is that this voter is going to prefer this delegate, and in the event that that delegate is absent on a particular vote, the delegation of authority will then default to the second delegate. We submit that. We say that this voter throws their delegation to this person, and then if this person is absent, to that person. Then a person can specify that they want to vote a particular way on a particular bill, and that's what this function does right here. And the way that works is this person on this bill votes yay. 1 means yay. And we get the feedback that that's the way they voted. And we can specify also nay on a bill, or we can specify abstain on a bill. And then one can specify that one wants to throw their delegate on a particular bill to somebody else, and that's the way it's done here. You first specify the voter ID, the bill number, and then to whom that voter is delegating their vote on that particular bill. And we say they throw delegate on the bill to this person. And then in this specification, we're going to set this person to throw the delegate on bill 322 to their default delegate. And that is in the event that they've previously specified that they wanted to have a particular vote on a bill and instead have that cast for them by somebody to whom they wish to grant their authority. We do that. and we say this person exercises no authority specific to Bill 322 anymore. And that's about it.